Welcome to Season 5 of Pants Around Ankles Prevention, where my mission is to help you keep your pants securely buckled and avoid that unexpected, awkward, and embarrassing moment when you realize suddenly that they're not. This season, we're going to do things a little differently with shorts around ankles prevention. Quick, power-packed episodes designed to deliver a punch of truth to help you wake up to a new perspective. Let's see what today's short has in store. Is it really that simple? I was recently a guest on a podcast with Paul Sanneman of Contractors Staffing Source, where we talked about why he has a business. He helps contractors find staff, and he finds people looking for new opportunities to find companies that might be a better fit for them. A point I recall making was something along the lines of, if all people love their jobs and the companies they work for, you'd be out of business. Now, that may be a slight exaggeration because sometimes people need to look for new jobs because a company goes out of business or maybe consolidates and jobs disappear, or maybe people choose to relocate to a different part of the country, perhaps to be closer to family or something like that. But my perception was that most people change jobs due to some sort of dissatisfaction with their current situation. One of Paul's comments was that he advises people coming to him who are dissatisfied with their current role with this advice. He says, if you don't like your job, change it. Life's too short. And I think he's right. So if you're someone working for a company and you're frustrated, you're not alone. Too often your skills don't suitably align with the role. Too often your new boss is an idiot or an ass. Too often your workload keeps growing along with their expectations, but you're already at or beyond capacity. Too often you're held accountable for things you have no control over, or you're doing a great job and that just gets you more work without more pay or more support or more job satisfaction. And too often you grow and need new challenges that the company is unable or even unwilling to provide. But this pain is not just about people who work in companies. If you own one, some of this might sound familiar too. Too often the business becomes a cage rather than a vehicle. The success brings complexity, not freedom. Too often the business starts running the owner, not the other way around. The financial rewards no longer compensate for the personal cost. Too often what once felt like purpose now just feels like pressure. The fun disappears and no one even notices. You look successful on the outside and feel trapped on the inside. Too often, you wonder if you traded decades of your life to prove something that you no longer care about. So, is it as simple as Paul indicated? Yeah, simple, yes. Easy? Probably not. But it starts with a decision. Whether you're the owner of a company or an employee with a lot of constraints, real or imagined, whether you feel boxed in by expectations or adrift without direction, it starts with a decision to stop assuming you're stuck and nothing can be done. At that point, the only thing that's truly stuck is your thinking. So in that regard, yeah, it really is this simple. So often, even if that decision is made, a solution does not appear. It's as if you want to pursue something else, but you don't know what that might be, or you have those constraints that we talked about. They're still there. They're still holding you back. They haven't gone away, and you don't know how to resolve them. You're willing to think differently about your situation, but you don't know exactly how to do that. And while you might recognize you need some sort of a paradigm shift, you don't know how to create it. And you know what? You're right. So let's talk a bit more about those constraints. I referred to them earlier by saying they're real or imagined. Let's be clear, they're all real. Behind each of them is some sort of rationale And behind that is usually something very simple, fear. And that's very real. And it's what usually influences our thinking and our decisions. Okay, so fear, F-E-A-R, false evidence appearing real. Mark Twain said it well. He said, "I'm an old man and have known many troubles, but most of them never happened." You shouldn't ignore fear, but you need to decide to give it the authority it deserves, but not more. It's the same with other aspects of any constraints you have. Give them the respect they deserve, but don't let them paralyze you. There are perhaps an infinite number of possible paths you can take. Actually, that's probably not true. In theory, yeah, but in practice, no. For most of us, we have far too apparent choices at this particular point. But in the preceding paragraph, there was a hint. I said, you're willing to think differently about your situation, but you don't exactly know how to do that. Yeah. So, don't think. Take action. Do something. Probably something different. Take a walk, go for a swim, go dancing, but take action. Our ability to think is a valuable thing, but to a large degree, you are wherever you are that you don't want to be right now, because how you've been thinking. And one of the best ways to think differently is to first stimulate your brain with some sort of action. Most of us, certainly not you, but most of us overthink everything. We're afraid of making mistakes. There's fear again. We want to figure everything out before we take action. No. If you're going to drive from New York to Los Angeles, you don't wait for all the lights to turn green before you start. As Anthony Machado is reported to have said, "Traveler, there is no path. The path is made by walking." So, by taking action, especially different action, we get different thinking. Is it really that simple? Next time you're stuck, try it and see. Action breaks inertia. If you'd like a deeper dive into this topic, consider subscribing to our newsletter, Waking Up, where we will explore it in even more detail. And if you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. See you soon.